This is the EFR Podcast, episode 32. It's me, Sammy B, Businessman Bassy. I'm along with James Lyman, and on the boards, my man Magic John Don Sterling. And, we are the Economic Amigos. We out here. Spring edition, man. We've been away for a long time, man. This is episode 32. We've come a long way. We've been around the block a couple times. Couple times. What's up, guys? How you guys doing, man? What's up, y'all?
Yeah,
man. April tax season in the U.S. of A. You know what I mean?
I've already got mine in.
Yeah. I haven't done mine yet, but I probably should do it. Well, I mean, the 15th is the cutoff. If you owe taxes or you have to pay, is the 15th. So, everybody should probably be focused on doing that. What's going on, y'all? Everybody's doing good? Everybody's okay?
Just watching the comedy of errors in the Congress again. They don't seem to have any time to bother with working problems that are really bothering people. They just want to monkey fight over nothing, which is really a shame because, people's got a lot of, particularly the young people, have a lot of problems building here with employment, technology displacement, and automation.
Well, James, you act like you actually forgot that this is the role of Congress. Congress has been like this for centuries,
exactly.
Man. So why are you surprised, bro? This is not something that should surprise you. An actionful type of Congress is a Congress that's not in action, if that makes any sense. A stagnant Congress is that's how you know that the country is working well, when the Congress is stagnant and people are miserable. But when Congress is in action, and that's how you know the fucking is hell on earth. The world is ending.
Well, there's probably some reason to that.
Yeah. All right, but let's start talking about the main event here. Mick Mulvey was on Fox News today, on Fox Sunday News, stated the topic of Mick Mulvey, if people don't know, is the chief of staff. I think Trump officially made him chief of staff a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I think a few weeks ago. He was acting chief of staff. Now he's been chief of staff of the United States for the president's office. I don't think they don't need Senate confirmation. So I think it was Trump and solely Trump who decided to make him from acting capacity to full capacity of the chief of staff. Pretty much he was on Fox News Sunday, and he was talking about the Democrats are trying to subpoena to get the IRS to release the President Trump's income taxes, and they've been trying this for years. The last 2 years now, and he stated that they're not
running.
Right. He said that Mick Mulvey, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, chief of staff, President Trump's chief of staff, said that they will never, IRS will never release President Trump's tax returns, ever. It's just not going to happen. And he brought up good points. The people knew that, and they still elected him president. The people knew that, and they still elected him president. And the people know this, and they still have him as president. So, I mean, it being tax season and Trump not releasing his income tax, what do you think about that?
Well, I think, again, it comes back to the Congress just wanting to do nothing but monkey fight. They want those tax returns for one reason, and that's the hopes, like the collusion with Russia, the hopes that they can find something that they can get them with, drag them down. And the really criminal part of that, in my mind, criminal negligence, is that they've got real problems for real people that need to be worked on, and they're doing nothing but this. They just want to protect their little domain instead of addressing problems. And you're right, they're supposed to be doing that. They're charged with that responsibility by the Constitution, and yet they just blatantly ignored it and go on. And I don't think it's all just the Democrats. I think there's a lot of Republicans that don't like an outsider and would like to see him get out too.
Yeah.
I understand there's some. Well, I understand there's some legal questions about the releasing tax forms like that. By law, they're not allowed to release tax forms without the permission of the tax holder. So I don't know just how that subpoena is going to go. I'm not sure. I think with criminal investigations by the police that they can get tax returns released. But, the Congress isn't a police force. They're not law enforcement.
The Chief of Staff, Mr. Mulvey, stated that the IRS cannot compel, they can't compel President Trump as a citizen. He's not compelled to release him. And then they also cannot compel, they are also not compelled to release him by law as well. Yeah. So there is like legal ramifications if they somehow get him without the consent of the individual that wants them to be put out. Like President Trump has to be the one to be willing to put it out. So on this matter, I think this is a matter that really needs to people should kind of move forward and kind of leave this matter alone. I mean, for 3 years now, they've been trying to get, the track tax returns, and, he's obviously not, it's just more pressing issues that we need to be worrying about.
Yeah, exactly.
On the economic and financial front. This is why it's called the Economic and Finance Report podcast.
True.
But
true.
Yeah. So let's move on to other things. But I wanted to bring this up because it is tax season, but it is important to definitely file your taxes and to do your taxes, especially if you are a small business owner and you have to pay tax. I mean, the strength of the United States as opposed to other countries around the world is our tax system. I mean, we generate revenues from our taxes. It's not like we do import and export. I mean, we do import and exporting, but our main strength of the United States, the body of our economic and soundness of this country, is through our revenue streams, through taxes. That's probably our primary. That separates us from a lot of other countries, is that we have a strong tax infrastructure, which, I mean, I was, strong and complex at the same time. And there's stuff that needs to be revised, but that's how the United States operates, folks, is that you have to pay your taxes. And very seldom do criminals really get off without paying taxes. I mean, you hear celebrities and everyone else. It's very seldom that they get off without paying taxes, but at least since I've been around, I've seen a lot of famous and important political, financially successful people go to jail because you did not pay your taxes or you owed tax money, and it's not something you should joke with. To be a prudent and complying citizen is the duty of paying taxes. To the United States government, and that's that. Like, that's not something you can play with. You should not play with, because it will come after you, and they will come after you hard. And it's not like they come after you after 1 year and 2 years. They'll come after you if you want to play for 10 years, and they'll keep adding interest over the 10 years. And then when you least expect it, they hit you with $1 million, $2 million lien or $3 million because of taxes that you didn't pay, or taxes trying to skim off the top or whatever, or some type of illegal tax hoopty-la that you're trying to do with your accountant or something. You know, in the United States, they're not playing. They're not playing. They will get you they will get you at your highest point and bring you down to the lowest point. So that's not something you should play with.
Yeah, starting with Al Capone, that's where they got him. It wasn't for all the murder and hijackings and all the stuff he did.
He was one of the prominent ones, but there's so many other people who have money, maybe even more than him. Who maybe we don't know as but Al Capone, yeah, I mean that whole system, and forget about it, Chicago, just in general, that whole political infrastructure and just that whole thing that's going on over there. But yeah, I mean, he was one of the prominent ones. But I mean, there's people who not as prominent, but they have a lot of money, and they still get caught in the legal and economic internal revenue service schemes of things. So let's not fool ourselves, man. The government is not playing. And if you think it's playing, then you keep doing it. See if they're playing with you. You can play with them, but they damn sure ain't gonna be playing back with you for real. So let's pay our taxes. That's the gist of it. Pay your taxes and on time. Pay it on time. And more importantly, pay it. So. Well, let's see what's going on in the economic and financial front, man. What's any companies? What's going on? What's when? Oh, I don't know what else has been on. Oh, Herman Cain. What's on your brain? Herman Cain. What's on the brain? And then what's his name? John Moore. Both nominated. Are supposedly nominated for the Federal Reserve Board. What do you think about that nomination? Herman Cain, what's on your brain?
Well, I think they had already started backtracking on raising the interest rates, and I think they'll put a lot more pressure on keeping them low to try and keep this economy going as it's been going. Cain, he's a businessman. He knows something about economics because he built a very successful business, and I think that'll play good.
From what I know from him, the business was already built. I think he came in and I think restructured it. As far as like Goodfellas Pizza, and I think before that he was at Burger King. As a but he goes into businesses and I think restructures and reorganizes reorganizes the structure of accountability and management to make a more prudent and financially successful business. And he's been able to do that, like with Goodfellas Pizza, and he's been chairs of different boards. And I think he was also the chairman and CEO of the Restaurant Association, the National Restaurant Association, which handles thousands of restaurants around the United States. So being a part of that lobbying firm is pretty big too, so.
Yeah. And the fast food restaurants is extremely competitive. They work on very small margins, so you don't have much room to make mistakes or hiccups before you're heading down the toilet. It on the top there, it takes a fairly sharp businessman to not only keep things running smoothly, but to make them grow. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that he's been pretty smart, or pretty savvy businessman as far as his restructuring and reorganizational sense. But how about the fact of him being Trump's pick? I don't know if he's actually formally been nominated. I think they're still doing the what they call the background check. before the president formally nominates you. Just the whole fact he was actually on the Kansas City Federal Reserve. He was the chairman and president of the Kansas City Federal Reserve. That's something new. I never knew that until I was able to do some research a few days ago. And then I wrote an article the other day that was put on our website, economic and FinanceReport.com, on his nomination. I posted that on the website. Again, economic and FinanceReport.com. And it's too long for me to spell, so just look it up on Google or Bing. So, check it out on the website. So when I was doing some research, I was able to find some stuff on him. And, but I mean, that's a powerful position. I mean, they pretty much are board members that will decide the interest rates in the United States or debate it, right? You know what I mean? And then, but they're not a part of the monetary policy. Are they a part of they're not, you're on the board, but are you a part of the policy, the monetary policy team? Or are you just on the board?
Well, they have an awful lot of influence, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, is it like, like, I'm just using this example. I mean, you're on the UN, but you're not on the Security Council. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, so you're on the Federal Reserve Board, but are you on the Monetary Policy, Fiscal Policy Council, which, they can tighten and loosen fiscal policies and interests, or is it just you're on the board and you just have a voice of many voices or that's instrumental in interest rates and interest policies in the United States financial system?
Yeah, I think that's it there. They just have a voice or influence about how things go. And that's why it's kind of important that Trump is putting people like that in, is to, keep things down, keep the interest rates down, and not let inflation get started. Because that's the thing that we've been doing is we've had nice economic growth, low unemployment, but it hasn't heated things up, so we start having inflation. And when your economy starts booming, usually that's what happens. You start having increasing inflation, and it wipes out all your gains. So you have to very delicate balance for them to keep things where you have true, real growth that's not being subtracted by your inflation.
Got you. Yeah. Pretty deep stuff, man. Pretty deep stuff. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what's going on. President Trump said that he would close the border with Mexico if they did not. Now he's if they not continue the tide of stopping inflows of immigrants coming. I mean,
illegal immigrants.
Yeah, of refugees trying to come into the United States. But what was interesting is that he said that he would stop. He would put 25% tariffs on their cars. Now, why is that? Yeah. That aspect is so important. Why is that so important? For me, the economic sense of something like that. How did that economically affect their economy in Mexico? If he puts
it means
25% tariffs on
fewer car sales and hence less income coming into the country. So that would be a serious blow to them. Are they
a big exporting country? Mexico.
I think there's several different models that are made down there. The Fords, and I think has a big plant there, and GM too. Matter of fact, GM just closed down a plant stateside and moved it down there. So this would be bad news. for the Mexicans to lose that. And they now know that he plays hardball. You have to take it serious because he's just liable to do that or close the border, even though there's all the economic devastation that would come actually for both countries. He's just liable to do it. You don't fool around with him. Just that simple. So I understand the Mexicans are being a little more concerted effort to try and stem the inflow of all these waves of refugees, and they have tougher immigration laws than we do. They don't have to go through.
President Trump
they don't have to go through courts or anything.
Right, he has touted that other countries have tougher immigration laws in the West, and this is something. Yeah,
they just pick them up and take them back to the border and say adios, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll keep monitoring how this plays out because he stated the 25% tariffs on autos. I don't know if that's the beginning because I would think their agriculture sector is probably their main. I wouldn't think the automobile, but I mean, I know Mexico, they do a lot of farming. They have a big agricultural sector.
Yeah, and he could selectively put tariffs, not unilaterally across all agricultural products, but say if there's a fair crop of oranges here in America, domestic, then he could put a 25% tariff on oranges down there.
Right.
Which makes them very uncompetitive.
I'm wondering if he's taking it. He's just picking and choosing what sector to go after. Because I mean, obviously he could say, well, now we're going to put, if they don't oblige, we'll do it on the automobile. Then we'll move into the agriculture. But I'm wondering if he's playing. It's more like a chess move type of thing.
Exactly.
I can scale up or scale down depending on what's going on that front. That it's all economical. It's all business like
exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's speak about we were talking a lot about more. We're talking national and international. Let's keep it. Let's kind of go into focal on local business news, particularly on what's been happening in the New York tri-state with Amazon. I don't know if you knew. No, I think we spoke about it. I'm not sure if we did. Amazon pulled out of being in New York. People are still the area that it pulled out of, Long Island City, Queens. They said that it would have provided at least 25,000 jobs, and just businesses booming in the area. There's people still feeling. There's people who are still upset about this. Now, what I want to know is, how does new businesses affect the economy and the financial state of localities and municipalities? How does that operate? Maybe you can kind of give us an overview, because we'll be here forever, going on every step. But how does that really affect like new businesses coming into local cities, villages, towns, and all that?
Yeah. Well, business is the money generator. So the more business you have, the more money you're going to have circulating around, and therefore the more revenues, in particular your tax revenues, that are going to be coming into the government to help out. There are downsizes. You now need more infrastructure. You have more people, tending to come in, particularly a big business like Amazon. So you have stress, if you will, on your infrastructure and your municipality in general. More schools, more housing is required, and more hospitals, libraries, those things. But in general, it's a big plus, and that's why all these different counties, states, and cities cut these big deals with companies to come in, give them tax breaks and everything, because in the long run they're going to make far, far more money than what they're going to lose in a few years of tax breaks and such. And they go to great pains to try and recruit these companies to come in. Our ex-governor was constantly going to California and recruiting companies to move from California with all their taxes and regulations here to Texas. Was quite successful at it. It got to the point where he was telling everybody, if you want a California job, come to Texas, because that's where they are now. And California has really lost a lot by not guarding their businesses and trying to keep them there.
Well, I think also in like places like Austin, Texas, where even I remember President Obama going down to like Austin, and that's like a metro booming economic hub. Like Austin and certain places like Dallas, and so Texas, which is conservative, very conservative red state, where you have Democrats, applauding the economic boom and small business booms that happen in that state. I mean, that's pretty tremendous, especially when you have, but if it just makes economical sense, then it just makes economical sense. You can't stop. If business makes sense, then it just makes sense. I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, that's pretty much.
Well, there's so many people that think that money is just something you go out to the cabbage patch and start looking under the cabbages and pull it out. They don't realize you have to actually make it, create wealth. It isn't just found. And consequently, they tend to vote and politically support along that line, having never been in business themselves, never even the smallest business, not realizing what it takes to create wealth.
Right. That's absolutely correct. I think you're on point with that. And and I think human wealth, as you would probably agree with, is probably the most efficient way to get economic and financial wealth, is to have human wealth, being able to produce those other assets, to make things happen. And on that note, this is episode 32. Unless you want to add anything, I don't
know if you want to quickly say something about Brexit.
Well, consider it's the evening.
People are really getting panicky. Pardon?
Well, consider it's the evening.
Yeah.
I mean, we should speak about dinner instead of. It's the evening.
Okay.
It's the evening. Nah. What do you have to say about breakfast? I don't know.
Well, people in Europe are really starting to get panicky. Not just the British themselves, but a lot of EU members and the EU itself. They're really wondering if Britain just goes ahead and crashes out like they were fixing to do.
Oh! You said Brexit. I thought you said breakfast.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay. I thought you were just making breakfast. A joke there.
No. I'm like breakfast. What the hell is freaking evening? Come on, get it together, James. You know what I mean? But no, Brexit. Yeah. Oh, Brexit. Oh yeah. All right. So okay, what Prime Minister May is asking for more time, and everybody else is like against it, something like that.
Well, EU's now encouraging to take more time, because they're realizing that if Britain just crashes out, that they're going to hurt just as much as Britain may be, and they've been kind of just sitting back, waiting for Britain to come to their senses in their viewpoint and to back out of it. And now it's gone so far along, they realize it's probably not going to happen, and they better start looking out for themselves.
Well, what is it? May is trying to buy time, but how much time are you going to keep allowing to it to lapse? I mean, they gave her like 2 or 3 times extensions, right? How many extensions can she possibly have? But then again, the will of the people, the will of the people was served as well. I mean, they stated that they wanted to leave with the referendum, and that has to also be acknowledged. Now, the parliament, already had no confidence in leaving, but the will of the people has already been answered. They made it a referendum. People voted. Now you can't just say, well, we can't do it now when you've already set a policy to already do it. And not only that, if you do that, it won't satisfy the will of the people. It's like you circumventing democracy. It's like they answered the call, and then you sidestepping why the call should not go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things that, if I want something, you're supposed to give. If I want something, you have to give me my trophy, but you're hesitant to give me the trophy that I want. So it's like, we can't play these type of games, or what if type of games. That's the right. I don't know. Maybe I'm not using the right word, but it can't be one of those. Well, I was just joking, or let me think about it again. Even though the will of the people have been answered, what I mean, it's been answered.
Yeah, but I think part of the problem is that the Labor Party is trying to use this to force general elections, anticipating that they're going to pick up, maybe even gain control in a general election. But even that may be a miscalculation, because there's a lot of labor people in the party that want Brexit. The Brexit they feel is impacting them negatively, and that's why they were pushing for it. So it's going to be interesting to see just where they go and just what a mess this winds up into.
I mean, we just got to wait and see. I mean, what else can you say about it? It's just. But I mean, if she's only asking for like a month, and she's saying this is really going to be the final time I'm really asking, let's just give it to her and see. And then after she reneges, we keep giving it till she sees. We keep giving it till she sees. I'm joking, no. But give it a month. What I mean? She's saying this is really, she just needs like about a month, I think they said. So give it a month. I mean, it can't hurt. We've already prolonged it for this long. We've already allowed it to go on for this long. Well, what the hell is another month? You know what I mean? Anything. Jeff Bezos, speaking of Amazon, lost $36 billion. Divorce, but we're not going to go into that. We're not a gossipy show, but or maybe we are a gossipy show, but we are money. We are definitely a money show. So sponsors, advertisers, and promotions, send that money this way. $37 billion. I'm sure he wishes it was $37. I wish it was $37.
Probably wishes he kept his pecker in his pocket.
Yeah. That is a disclaimer, folks. That is by James Lyman, not by Sandy. James Lyman. Yeah, so I mean, this was a pretty good episode. Tax season episode 32. I am Sammy B. Bismuth, asking along with James Lyman, and on the boards we have John Don Sterling. Can I get a soul clap? Thank you for tuning out. You can also check our website, economicandfinancereport.com, and we have a lot of social media, Twitters. That will also be in the comment section below. Podcasts in your neighborhood. All right, this is the EFR Podcast, episode 32.